going on though, but something I do
Well,
think we keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think sort of in general, our cemeteries are something that we might, think about coming up, you know, the Chatham Burial Park still needs some, you know, there are stones that are turned over and things, and obviously that, we could work on that from now to
And the
Kingdom
roadway
Come.
too, that was
The-
one of my
That's
things.
my-
Right, the
Yes.
roadways and cemeteries,
Trees.
trees, roots, you know, it's a mess. So that's definitely something that we can, you know, talk about and try to make some plans for moving forward.
Thank you.
And investing in the infrastructure, where would we put things like, the entrances to the town?
That might be road maintenance, or it could be
Doesn't quite
town
fit in.
properties, yeah, we'll put, I'll put another star and put, town entryways. And so what we'll do is, you know, we'll take each of these things and maybe put some more bullet points under them to be a little bit more specific about things as we go forward. So planning for equipment and capital needs, obviously, we know that, we have fire truck, and other vehicle needs that we'll have, and police vehicle needs. Public works equipment, life cycle planning, we know all of that stuff is pretty expensive to make repairs on and stuff, and
Most of that's different.
it is, and that's what I'm saying, we'll have that conversation with them for Mark. But we don't want them to come up with some huge project, you know, out of the blue, so at least we can, at least kind of know what might be coming down the pike. Enhanced community development, this is kind of a new category for us that we've maybe looked at before, but now we're talking a little bit about a position and community development or economic development position, so that's, we can have that conversation sort of under that category. And then improve transparency and community engagement. We can publish our annual budget summary for public review, host quarterly or periodic budget question and answer sessions, and launch participatory budgeting pilot. Now, Kelly's gonna have to talk about that a little bit more extensively about what she has in mind about those. But I will say that, that was, I was at the mayor's, conference institute, in Roanoke over the weekend, and that was a big part of our conversation about transparency and social media and ways to engage with our citizens that, keep everything above board and transparent, so we can talk about that more as we go forward. Revenue strategy, obviously, revenue is important. We've got some sources here, the property taxes, and the strategy might be to maintain modest annual increases aligned with the inflation and assessed value growth. We might also aggressively pursue state, federal, and private grants for capital projects and services. We're already doing some of that, and that's just become an important part of funding for municipalities. We can review annually our fees and permits to ensure that we're in alignment with the costs that are involved with that service. And then enterprise funds, ensuring water sewer rates reflect true operating and capital costs. Economic development, we can encourage our tax-based growth through commercial development and revitalization projects. Does anybody else have any other thoughts or things they might like to add to that? I'm gonna put, tourism, and that might come under economic development, but there might be opportunities to, take more advantage of tourism opportunities. The expenditure strategy, again, we have certain categories there. Personnel, we wanna make sure that we align our staffing with service demands and also invest in staff training and retention. For capital projects, we wanna prioritize those based on the condition, the safety, and the needs of the community, and integrate, a capital improvement plans with our operating budget. And that's something that we were just talking about with, you know, technology updates and things like that. We know that these systems are obsolete almost as soon as we put them in, so we know we're gonna have to continue to upgrade those to keep them up to date. Debt management, we wanna limit new debt and pursue, low interest loans and state infrastructure funds, obviously, as much as possible. And then establish a minimum reserve policy and fund annually for contingencies. And then for cost efficiency, we can explore shared services with neighboring municipalities and invest in energy saving initiatives. Any additions to that? All right. So, if we kind of take it year by year, we can highlight these, a few things as we go.
Got it?
For 2026, we can do conduct a comprehensive infrastructure assessment. Let's look at what we have and see, you know, what's held together with duct tape and what's probably gonna require replacement soon. Secure funding for priority capital needs like the fire truck, and begin operational efficiency reviews. In 2027, we might launch a multi-year state paving, street paving and sidewalk repair plan, and those conversations are already underway, so that's a reasonable timeline for that. And again, we can apply for major grants, USDA's Rural Development and the FEMA Safer Grant, as for examples, and try, again, working on increasing that general fund reserve by 5%. In 2028, we might be ready to break ground on a key infrastructure project like water and sewer line upgrades. And in 2029, replace aging municipal vehicles and equipment, introduce the citizen budget feedback tool, and review and update a 5-year capital improvement plan. So by 2030, we hope to achieve our reserve target of 5%, evaluate the impact of capital investments on service levels, and begin planning for the next 5-year budget cycle. Obviously, everything's just gonna be kicked down the road again. Any thoughts or concerns about those? Alright. And then, number 7, the performance metrics and monitoring. Obviously, we're gonna have to keep an eye on these things and make sure we are moving ahead with things. So if our goal is to maintain balanced budgets, obviously we wanna check our annual deficit and surplus numbers. And then we want to go for a 0 or a surplus each year as opposed to a deficit. We want to build reserves. Obviously, we can do that by monitoring the reserve fund balance. And again, the goal is to a 5% reserve. If we are able to invest in our infrastructure, the percentage of the capital needs to be funded, and at least 75% of the priority projects. We can increase transparency with budget engagement events and have at least one a quarter. We can improve service delivery and judge that by our citizen satisfaction rating, and shoot for an 80% by 2030. Anything to add to that? So in conclusion, this 5-year budget vision balances fiscal responsibility with strategic investment. By planning ahead and engaging the community, the town can continue to provide essential services while building a stronger, more resilient future. Does that make sense to everybody? Fire department, police department, Sarah, got anything jumps out at you that you'd like to add to that? Do we need to be thinking about that we hadn't thought about yet?
Well, I mean, when it comes to police calls, it may not follow this schedule because they're gonna change it every
Sure.
couple of years.
Well, there's room for flexibility in there, but at least we kind of, are thinking about what's gonna be coming down the pike, even if it doesn't hit that exact date. All right, well, I think that's all we have for that session, unless somebody has other comments or anything. Can I have a motion to
So
adjourn?
moved, Madam Mayor.
Second.
All those in favor?
And,
All right, thank you very much.